do you got for me, Spencer?
What do you know about WRASTLIN?
Oh, well, I know that it's not real. I know that all the guys that did it in high school were in the closet. They fish hooked each other all the time.
What's that even mean?
Well, Spencer, you put your finger in your opponent's butthole in a hook fashion.
Okay.
It really gets their goose in the middle of a match. It's kind of like a low blow in boxing.
Okay. But that's legal?
Well, if the ref is on the take, he doesn't, or he's like a pedophile and he didn't see it. He puts that in his spank bank for later. We grew up in the era where Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and Kurt Angle,
Yeah, like
Triple H, the Attitude Era.
yeah,
was that
the
what
Attitude Era.
Bret Hart. I met
Bret Hart.
Bret Hart.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he came to a book signing because he wrote a book, I think, about his brother.
Owen, who died?
He didn't have the guts to take a few people with him like Chris Benoit. What about you? How do you feel about wrestling?
I mean, when I was younger, I watched it a lot.
That same era?
Yeah. Then, like, fell out of it. But then, like, I started watching, like, Dark Side of the Ring. And, like, all the stories are, like, crazy.
They're
Like,
probably horrific.
all the lives those people live and stuff. It's, like how many people have died from, like, overdoses and stuff just because, like, they're, like, independent contractors and they're, like, 300 days a year working and never home. Yeah.
They ruin their bodies for the love of the game, and Vince McMahon doesn't give a fuck about
Right,
any
he
of
cares
them.
not, as long as he's making money.
As long as he's still a billionaire. I'm sure it was just as bad before he came along and like
Right.
corporatized it, because it was just at that point it was like back alley shit where it was like,
Right,
let's throw thumbtacks.
Michigan like had its like own thing, and then like Tennessee had its own thing.
Yeah.
But then he came and like made it. Like,
And it was in like gymnasiums of YMCA's and shit.
yeah, it's like let's go to the Moose Hall and watch it.
So yeah, there's probably some good of him taking some control over it, but still not giving a fuck about his performers.
Yeah, like Andre the Giant, like he was just like super depressed and stuff, and like he was so like hurt in Princess Bride, like he couldn't even catch the actress. What's her face?
Oh, really?
Yeah, and she was
From
like
probably back problems.
yeah, and she was like 100 pounds, and like they had to like lower her down on cables, like when he caught her.
His gigantism probably didn't help his physical.
Right, like when he went to Japan and stuff, like it was miserable for him because like everything's so small over there. Like,
Imagine how much he stood out
Right.
in that crowd. Like
yeah, and how much he drank and everything, just because I think
he could
was so lonely.
He could crush beer. Speaking of crushing beer, I think it was Andre the Giant, like, was well known for like drinking like 100 and something beers in one sitting, wasn't it?
I wonder what his alcohol content was.
Oh my God. It had to be lethal doses.
Like, I think when they found Amy Winehouse dead, hers was like 0.3.
Oh yeah, and that's like nothing
is, like,
to certain people. That's
for being like how tiny she was. And that's like when they found her. I've never seen a
dead body.
dead body.
My dad used to own a gym in the 80s before I was born. He said anytime, I think he called the local event center at the time and was like, yo, anytime you guys are going to be having any sort of wrestling events, tell the wrestlers, come to my gym and they can work out here for free. And they were like, all right. So he kind of made a partnership with the local entertainment venues. And he also did the same thing for the local strip club. And so a couple of times porn stars would come into his gym and work out there. He said they were making a motion picture at the local strip club.
Oh, okay.
So they had to get buff beforehand.
Yeah, because the working out an hour before changes your physique.
Yes. One of the times that wrestlers were coming into town, my dad worked at the time full time. He had a job, but he still owned the gym as well. And so he was at work, and he knew some wrestlers were coming into town. So he took a half day that day. So around like 10 or 11, he called his gym to see if the wrestlers had shown up yet because he had his workers waiting for him. Mm-hmm. Somebody answers who he didn't know. He didn't recognize this voice. And he was like, hello? And the guy on the other line goes, Ironworks Gym. And my dad's like, who's this? And he goes, it's Rick. Who's this? And he's like, I'm the owner. And he's like, Rick who? And he was like, Ric Flair. He's like, what are you doing answering my phone? And he's like, well, your workers are out helping guests, so I figured I'd answer the phone for a little while. And so my dad went there and was like hanging out with...
Oh, so you got to like meet them all and everything?
My dad said Ric Flair is exactly what you think he is. Just like the coolest dude, just like...
He just like emits that aura of like...
People kept coming into the gym being like, what the fuck? Ric Flair? It would be like if John Cena came into a gym today, which that also happened to my dad too. He didn't own the gym anymore, but he went to the gym local around here, and John Cena was just in there, and he was like, oh, hey. That was it. Just hey, there's John Cena.
Access nothing, like,
yep.
I'm just here to work out, and you're here to work out.
There was no kids dying of cancer there either.
Right.
It was weird. But yeah, then I was born, and my dad had to sell the gym. There's one wrestler, he was really shitty, Donald Trump.
Is he in the WWE Hall of Fame? He might
It's
be.
probably the only Hall of Fame he'll ever end up in.
Like Pete Rose. He's in the WWE Hall of Fame, but he can't get in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
So what do you think about grown-ass people who love wrestling to the point where they, like, are emotionally invested in it?
But, like, if you're, like, crying over the storyline, like, you know the writers, like, did this on purpose.
It's soap opera level acting.
Right.
Like, it's god-awful.
But if you're there just, like, watch high flyers and people, like, get power bombed and stuff,
yeah,
that's
just,
like, different.
It's like, it's on, like, the same level of, like, monster trucks. I went to a monster truck rally once, and I didn't know, like, I always just thought monster trucks was destroy everything. But, like, they had, like, a storyline. And so, like, they would, like, get out of their trucks and, like, argue with one another, and they were all mic'd up. It was shit tier. It was below WWF, and
I never knew this.
yeah, I never knew it at all either. And it was at an indoor arena, and halfway through the show, like, it was just gas fumes. Like, we were all slowly dying.
You're getting carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yeah. I love any of that trashy shit. Local derbies, like with the figure eights, with the buses, just fucking trash can people, and like
that's half the fun is people watching.
Yeah,
you just go and get drunk, and then
county fairs.
You just act like you're part of them, and it's fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun time.
Yeah, they would be drinking a lot of these.
What?
Surprising! It is surprising the amount of good actors that have come out of WWE and WWF.
Right,
like. There's been a lot of shit
Batista.
movies, but like Batista and Cena,
yeah,
The
he's
Rock.
in a lot of them.
They're not like, to me, they're not fabulous actors, but they have made enormous movies.
Yeah, it's not like they're in like D-list movies that are getting like a 2 on IMDb.
Yeah, but they're not in Schindler's List.
Right, they're not gonna win an Academy Award.
I would say
soon.
Batista has probably been in the most movies that I think are
good.
Yeah. And I'm just going off Blade Runner 2049 because he was in that for like 2 minutes.
And then Rock's just like, I'm going to be in 7 Fast and Furious movies.
I'm going to be in every movie. It'd be cool to see him.
He's a better guy than he is an actor.
Yeah.
Like,
but it'd be really cool to see him, like, imagine him turning in a fucking...
Like a Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah, like, go head over heels into a role of, like... I feel like I could see him being a good character in, like, a serious, down-to-earth Vietnam movie.
Yeah, or something like in Polynesia or somewhere.
Yeah, or like a World War II movie during the time frame of the Pacific campaign. I mean, Vin Diesel was in Saving Private Ryan. And him and The Rock are bedfellows, or they hate each other. I don't know. I haven't watched any of the super Fast and Furious movies, so I don't know. But they seem to always be arguing like the Gallagher brothers. And it's like, why don't you guys both just fuck yourselves?